You've spent decades being disciplined. You've skipped the extra vacations. You've watched what the items were and what they cost on the menu, and you've fully maxed out your 401k. So you're at the finish line, retirement. But there's a really uncomfortable truth that most retirement plans are based upon ideal conditions, and we all know that in the world and in the economy, ideal conditions rarely ever exist. Today we're not going to talk about how to save more money. Today we're going to talk about how do you stop the bleeding. We're going to dive into 4 separate forces that could take an absolutely healthy 7-figure nest egg, and after a couple of decades, you're going to watch it evaporate to absolutely zero. If you want to ensure that your golden years don't turn into your survival years, stay tuned. You really want to watch this section. So destroyer number 1, the silent erosion. Think $1 million will last 30 years? Well, by the end of this segment, you may really feel like it's down to $500,000. You see, the biggest mistake that most retirees make is thinking of their wealth in nominal terms. That's a fancy way to say just the number that appears on your screen when you pull up a balance. You don't spend nominal money. Really what you spend is what we call purchasing power. Inflation is often called the silent tax because you don't get a bill for it in the mail. It just slowly shrinks your grocery bag. So we think of inflation as that silent erosion. If we look at, say, the average of inflation, it's averaged 3% over the years. At 3%, your money loses half of its value in 24 years. Now, for retirees, it's even worse because medical healthcare inflation has been averaging 5 to 6%. So let's do a math problem together. Let's say it takes $80,000 to maintain your life. If we look at that $80,000 annually, and let's say inflation averages, let's just use 4%, which is pretty close. Let's say it averages 4% for 20 years. In 20 years, that $80,000 will have to turn into $175,000 just to maintain the lifestyle that you enjoy today. All right, so our second destroyer, and that's the sequence of returns, what you might think of as timing. You see, 2 people can start out retirement identically, their portfolios being the same. One will end up a millionaire, and the other one's going to end up dead broke. This is a really dangerous math calculation that happens in finance. You make your assumptions based on average annual returns, and that has nothing to do with it. What's more important is the sequence or the timing of those returns. So let's walk through an example. It'll help it be clear. So let's take 2 retirees. We'll just call them Smith and Jones. Both have $1 million in their retirement portfolio. Both need to withdraw or want to withdraw $50,000 a year. Both will see an average return of 7% over 20 years. That's that average annual return we talked about. However, Smith hits a bear market in year 1 and year 2, and the market drops, let's use the math, 20%. Jones, he hits another bear market, but he doesn't hit it until year 18. What happens? You see, Smith, in order to maintain that $50,000 a year, he has to sell some stocks in his portfolio, even though stocks are on sale. His portfolio never, ever recovers. Jones, on the other hand, finishes 20 years with more money than he started with. This is why the 5-year danger zone, the 5 years immediately before and after you retire, is the most critical time as you think about your portfolio's success. Destroyer number 3, the healthcare wildcard. You see, the biggest bill that you're ever going to receive, it doesn't come from a travel agent. More than likely, it'll come from a hospital. You see, we tend to view healthcare and how much we spend as that monthly premium and some out-of-pocket costs. But if you look at Fidelity, Fidelity estimates that the average 65-year-old couple will need roughly $315,000 in retirement just for premiums and those healthcare out-of-pocket costs. You see, here's the black hole. Medicare does not cover long-term care. So the $5,000 to $10,000 it might cost to have you in a nursing facility or a memory care facility, Medicare does not pay any of that. So you can do the math. If one spouse requires, let's say, 3 years of care, that 3 years of care can absolutely wipe out a portfolio for the surviving spouse. It's at this point we need to start having conversations around asset protection as opposed to asset growth and how to insulate those assets. All right, destroyer number 4, the lifestyle and debt trap. So finally, we have the behavioral destroyer. When people retire, they often front load their expenses, right? They're free, they're retired, they want to travel, they want to really enjoy themselves. But if you carry a mortgage, for an example, into your retirement, your fixed costs still remain way too high. So during your retirement, when the market drops, and it will, it's not as easy to cut your mortgage payment back. So that forces you back into the sequence of returns, the timing trap we talked about earlier. And then there's the gray divorce. If you split an efficient household 50%, 50%, and now you have 2 buckets for utilities, for housing, for food, for insurance, you can see how trying to maintain 2 households, again, can wipe out your portfolio. So divorce is statistically the number 1 way to end up in the poverty line in your retirement. So retirement isn't so much an event as it is a 30-year management project. So we've talked about the risks: inflation, sequence of returns, healthcare, and lifestyle creep. The goal isn't to be afraid, but it is to be prepared. By building a cash buffer and an emergency fund now, you can enjoy your freedom without always looking over your shoulder at your account balances. So our 4 destroyers: the silence erosion, the sequence of events, the healthcare wildcard, and that lifestyle and debt trap. If thinking about those 4 destroyers has helped you consider some options with your retirement portfolio, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll give us a like and come back for additional videos on how to have a vibrant and intentional retirement plan.